could you tell my audience a little bit about yourself? You're relatively new on the scene.
Yeah, I actually started this podcasting journey about 2.5 months ago. And just being myself per usual, I did not anticipate 250,000 people in the last 4 days seeing my face and
Yep.
hearing my voice and having hundreds of thousands of people either loving me or hating me at this point. So I'm here. I'm a licensed therapist and trained certified trauma specialist. And I've been working for over a decade in the field. And I'm repping Philadelphia.
Cool. So what was it like going viral? And because I know some people get kind of, people can handle that amount of attention in different ways. So how was it for you?
Yeah, honestly, I laughed at all the comments, good and bad. Apparently, I'm Kevin Samuels 2.0. I am gay. I hate women, and I'm a red pill therapist, is what I've been apparently now identified as. So apparently, I'm all of these things. But honestly, I don't take myself too seriously. Even me getting into this space, I wasn't looking necessarily like get famous. It was more so just bringing a slightly different perspective that I felt I wasn't really hearing in a lot of these types of conversations.
Yeah, well, you were really calm. I was actually surprised how much they let you talk. They never, I got to learn whatever the heck you did. They never let me talk that much. They always cut me off.
You know what? I would say it's definitely the pool of the people you admire and kind of invite on at times. They're the argumentative types. These two ladies, they welcomed me. They asked me, and they came up with the topics. They came up with the questions, and I just came in and did it.
Cool. So now that you're labeled the red pill therapist, would you consider yourself red pill, and how would you personally define it?
Sure. Yeah. I never thought I'd be identified in that way. But in terms of all the ways in which people can kind of categorize me or categorize what I stand for in a lot of my arguments, sure. I think a lot of what I stand for is probably red pill. And the interesting thing is there was a point in my life when I was definitely black pill, and I've switched back over to the red pill side. And I hope to convert you and all of your black pill listeners to come back over to the slightly less dark side.
Well, okay, so you want to convert me today. We'll get to that later. So what is your opinion then on the current dating markets and intersexual dynamics between men and women?
Okay. In terms of what's going on presently and how we got here, in my last interview, I kind of mentioned that the pill and birth control, sexual liberation, women entering the workforce en masse, and social media / dating apps has really changed how we as human beings kind of see each other and the general trajectory of where we're heading as a civilization, especially in terms of Western cultures. More or less, the end result is now that women have basically delayed motherhood and marriage, increased their chances of experiencing a lot of trauma and pain from the frequent relationships that don't work through their teens and 20s and possibly 30s, and also decreasing just the overall trust in each other, men and women, as well as increasing the perspective of just wanting transactional expectations on the other side. We've now developed very false beliefs in terms of optionality of what's available. Whenever things don't just keep working out, we can give up, we can leave relationships, we can get divorced. And then that's pretty much led us to where we are declining as a civilization in terms of our birth rate. So I think that's in essence what is going on at this point.
And do you think it's because of the pill, or like, what do you think are the root causes behind it?
Each one of these things that I listed gave options to women that perhaps they didn't have or didn't have nearly as much as they did. Sure, in the past, women could have gotten hangers and, went in the back alley to kind of get that situation addressed. But once it became more formalized in medical settings, it made their ability to be able to delay a lot of things that were typically done earlier for women and throughout human history. They said, I can wait till I'm my late 20s. I can wait till my 30s to do this now. And simultaneously, I can now have sex and choose my suitor. So that was one way in which they kind of opened up the door for women specifically to start to approach dating and marriage differently. Then when you had the sexual liberation movement, they were convinced that trying to do life like men, especially sexually, was going to have all of these significant benefits. The consequence, unfortunately, is not only was it a rise and increase in STDs, a rise increase in single mother households, but also probably a significant degree of dissatisfaction with women when it comes to their ability to be able to pair bond, their ability to remain satisfied, and always the comparisons of what's next or who's next or who could be better. So yeah, I think that, many of these, and then of course we can't forget the social media and dating apps. It's just it's convinced a generation of women, specifically in the West, that there's always a better alternative. There's always a best option. And that with the influx of the likes, the influx of the comments, the influx of men in their DMs, they're convinced that because there's so many of these men that want me, that I have all these options. And the reality is they wouldn't sleep with most of those men. They wouldn't be in relationships with most of those men. But they've, in essence, kind of conflated all this attention I get on the outside with the reality of how few men I actually want and can actually end up with.
I think it almost reveals women don't like men as much as we originally thought. Would you agree with that, or do you disagree?
This is a tough one.
Because it's like the second you're like, do you want to kill their kids? They're like, yup. They're like, the second they're like, do you want to leave your husbands? They're like, yup. The second they're like, do you want to be moms? Do you guys want to wait? They're like, let me wait as long as possible. They say like revealed preferences versus stated preferences. So like people say they want things, but if you look at like their actions, it's not like, it's like the fat friend you keep taking to the gym. And they're like, I want to lose weight. And you're like, all right, come to the gym.
Earl, first of all, I got a job, right? So I'm gonna try to keep it. Well, what I would say in response to that, believe it or not, is that I do agree that with optionality, people's natures have definitely been revealed much more clearly. But with that said, I don't know if I was a woman and I had this many options and an ability to get so much attention so early and so often that I wouldn't have potentially adopted much of that mindset too if I were in their shoes for at least a season. The issue is actually not simply that it's revealed that women have the capacity to be just as grimy as men in some respects. It also revealed that I think they saw something. It revealed something in women that I don't think most men factored in.
It was a secret before. Women could just say like that. Oh, that was the women today. In the past, we weren't like that. And I'm like, yeah, grandma, because there's no smartphones. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't buy that women. And that's the thing. This is the difference. I think the only difference between women today and women of the past is cameras, social media, and the ability for us to see it more readily available. I think women have always done what they wanted to do and pick their best option that they thought they can get in terms of a spouse. Very quickly might move on if a guy wasn't the right fit. I think female dating strategies by default is definitely different than men's. And I don't think that changed as much as it probably got exacerbated with all these things that I mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I think you said that I might have a different opinion on, I don't think, I think you said women are like traumatized from sleeping around. I don't really. I think it's just like a get out of jail free card they use later. I'm like, you did not look traumatized when you were like hanging out with Tyrone, Chad, Gavin. You seem fine.
Yeah.
But then you're going to like cry later. But I think it's just so they can get a husband. Because like, obviously they can't be like, oh, I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. So,
well, as a trauma, sorry to cut you off. As a trauma therapist, I actually know what trauma is. So it's very fascinating to see women and people specifically that overuse trauma and everybody that I was with in the past as a narcissist. Like, I actually know what these terms mean and know how to measure them. So when I mean it, what I actually mean is that, they actually increase their chances to experience trauma because you keep dealing with so many men who you haven't probably vetted properly. But a lot of times when they're using those words, it's not actually applying to the case.
No, they don't want to vet them properly. You know what I mean? You just want 6-pack abs.